Hi, this is James Eng with Old Capital, and today we're here with al.silva of Marcus and Millichap. Al, how are you doing?
Doing great, James. Good to be here with you.
So, Al, maybe to start off, give people a little bit of an intro on you and sort of your background, and then we'll jump into this new deal.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So I started with Marcus and Millichap in March 2004, which is almost 16 years ago. It's really hard to believe. But all I've ever done my entire professional career is sell B and C class multifamily in Dallas Fort Worth. We specifically focus on B and C in DFW, and that's all we've ever done. So that's kind of my background.
Okay, and you are based in your office is over in Fort Worth, and these
Yeah.
deals are right around the corner from you guys. So excited to jump into this deal. So maybe tell us more about this portfolio of two deals, and then we're going to take each deal sort of separate and go through them one by one.
Yeah, sure. So this is a two property package totaling 222 units. You've got Villas del Sol, which is a 104 unit property, Wedgewood, which is a 118 unit property. They're located, just around the corner from each other, somewhere between a quarter and a half mile apart from one another. Current owners had these a little over 3 years, and it's just a great opportunity to come into a solid yield day one with some good upside on the table without having to incur a lot of risk or a heavy lift on CapEx. So that's kind of the overall pitch for the two property package. You'll see here we're offering it at 18,650,000, which is, it's a 5.86% tax adjusted cap rate, which I think is really attractive for today's environment. That's reserves above the line and taxes adjusted, actual T3 revenue, T12 expenses. So it's a good, solid, attractive yield walking in the door. It's a good location in kind of that southwest Fort Worth submarket that's gotten a lot of attention recently. So you have them broken out. Villas del Sol, we're offering at 8.4 million. Wedgewood, 10 and a quarter. Cap rates are pretty similar. Everything kind of lines up in a fairly similar fashion. The seller's going to prefer overwhelmingly to sell these, as a portfolio. We'll entertain offers on individual properties, but I think they'd rather, deal with one party on this. So
Okay.
that's the high level on it.
So they bought it 3 years ago. I think we worked on the deal. They did a loan assumption on the deal and a supplemental, and now this deal, but the 18.6 now they're offering it free and clear to any new buyers. Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So we get to
Okay.
put fresh debt on it.
Okay. All right. So let's jump in. So we sort of went through the portfolio. Let's go through the. So here's a map of sort of location wise. So there, you said about a quarter to half a mile from each other. So if they needed to share staff or anything like that, they could. Um, let's
Exactly.
jump into Villas del Sol first. So here's a bigger map of Dallas, so you can sort of see in Fort Worth and south of there, southwest in Villas del Sol. So let's start with Villas del Sol and maybe take us through this deal a little bit in more detail.
Yeah, sure. And that's a really good point about, the staff. You can have a floating staff member. And, a lot of people look at a property like Villas del Sol with only 104 units or Wedgewood with only 118 and say, well, it's just not enough scale. Well, you have these two properties are so close together that you're going to be able to enjoy, those economies of scale there. So I think that's something that's pretty unique about this offering here. But yeah, Villas del Sol is the first half of the equation here. This is, as I've mentioned, 104 units built in 1979, located just off McCart Avenue, just south of I-20 in Fort Worth. You have a ton of, employment, retail, public transportation. Everything you need is either in walking distance or a very, very short commute. You're only about 10 minutes away from downtown Fort Worth. So it's a well located property. You've got, majority two-bedroom floor plans here. Property was built in 1979, 8.4 million. That's like a 5.85% going in cap rate. You can see here the property shows very well. It's clean, and the opportunity is you come in and you pick up a pretty good yield. You put the attractive debt on it, at least 75% loan to value. And, they've been getting requests for kitchen backsplashes and fresh cabinet fronts, and they have not done those improvements, but that's, all your comps are doing. And so I think there's some upside by doing those interior improvements, number one. Number two, they've not done water conservation yet. So we think, Save Water Company gave us a report that says we can save $18,000 our first year in water usage just for spending $40,000 in conservation. So that's another kind of value add component for it. And, number three is just improving the overall operating efficiency, tightening up the economic occupancy a little bit.
Okay. So here I put the unit mix. Maybe tell a little bit about the physical aspects, if there's any CapEx, this seller has done, or I know it has sort of what people are looking for in terms of pitch roof, individual HVAC, any recent CapEx that the seller or previous seller has done on this property?
Yeah, I mean, the roofs, my understanding, are somewhere in the 5 to 7 year old range. It's all hardy and brick on the exterior, so you don't have to worry about a lot of issues or deferred maintenance or wood rot or anything like that. So they've taken really good care of Villas del Sol and Wedgewood. And yeah, you have pitched roofs, you have individual HVACs, which everybody seems to like. And the opportunity here is you're coming in and you're making slight improvements to the operation, slight improvements to the interior finish out. You're not reinventing the wheel or doing some big heavy lift. So you're getting, a good value add component. You're getting to a 10% cash on cash return without having to worry about a lot of CapEx.
Okay, so we just here's sort of the current income versus the pro forma. So really, you're looking at 60,000-70,000 and increasing the NOI, and that's really going to be the rents and I guess some of the water savings you guys had projected.
Yeah, I mean, we projected less than a $50 rent increase here, and it's not that we think it's possible to get more, but the point is that you don't have to get some astronomical rent increase to make the numbers work. If you can achieve a $48, $49 rent increase like our pro forma says, economic vacancy at 7%, expenses at market with that slight utility reduction, you're at a 10% cash on cash return.
Right.
So you're kind of trimming around the margins. You're not going in and, like I said, reinventing the wheel.
So on this one, they have a third party on site already managing both properties. Is that right?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. All right. So someone could pick up and engage either these guys. I think it's managed by Citygate now.
Exactly.
So either Citygate or another third party that they've been able to sort of run these properties together to sort of get. Because on a smaller property like this, you might see payroll at like $1,500 a door if you didn't have the other one with it. So
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. And by
yeah.
the way, Citygate's fully capable. This is a plug and play type of deal. So Citygate's fully capable of continuing to manage this property. The key is bringing the capital to the table to implement some of these things.
Okay. Yeah. So at a price of $8.4 million, we looked at it a couple ways, but really the strongest debt quote that we had was really around Fannie and their green program. So we talked about the water savings. So when we underwrote the deal, we were getting about $6.3 million loan. So T3 net rental, T6 annualized on other income, and then pretty standard expenses, 3% management fee, $350 on G&A, advertising, professional, $1,100 on payroll. Utilities were T12, water and sewer T12, R&M $600, insurance was $300 a door, and then taxes we brought up to about 90%. And so that gave you a loan of about $6.3 million on Fannie Mae, which comes out to, I think, 75-80% of the purchase price. So right there in terms of debt. So depending on how aggressive you want it to be on your debt assumptions, that's pretty much where it's lining up on Villas del Sol. So let's jump in to Wedgewood, which is just north of Villas del Sol.
Yeah, no, Wedgewood's just around the corner, so all the same location dynamics that I just mentioned. This one's tucked a little more back into a neighborhood, which is nice. You're right next door to a couple of schools, an elementary school and an early childhood learning center. So you got a little bit more of a neighborhood feel to this property, but it's still right by the main drag. But you're 86% 2 and 3 bedroom floor plans here, which is outstanding. You have over 1,000 square feet average unit size here, which is the largest units in the submarket. You have some of the only 3 bedroom floor plans available in the entire submarket. So Wedgewood does have some unique characteristics to it that really complements Villas del Sol. You might have people at Villas del Sol who want a larger unit or want a 3 bedroom unit, so you can just send them over to Wedgewood, and vice versa. So I think that's one way these two complement each other quite a bit. But yeah, this is offered at 10.25 million, which is almost a 6% tax adjusted reserves above the line cap rate. So the cap rate going in makes all the sense in the world, and very similar to Villas del Sol, you've got this operational upside through reducing the utility expenses, improving the collections, and then also making these slight improvements to the interiors to capture higher rents. And so you take those things combined, and you're taking the cash on cash into the double digits again.
Yeah, and then on the I think it's the south side of the property, they have this pool, which is probably one of the nicest pools for a 118 unit deal.
Yeah, if you want to practice for be an Olympic swimmer, you can live here.
Yeah. So I mean, in terms of interiors on Wedgewood, is this on the right hand side? Is that pretty standard? Just sort of maybe some hard surface on the first floor, and then sort of basic maybe black appliances on the interiors. Is that what's been done so far?
Exactly. These pictures are really representative of what the units look like. The units here and at Villas del Sol, they're in good shape. They've kind of undergone that first generation of interior improvements, but there are things like backsplashes and cabinet fronts that haven't been done that you can capture additional rental upside that way, because all your comps are doing it. And so we have case studies in the OM that actually demonstrate the comps in the area that have the most similar floor plans to Villas del Sol and Wedgewood, what exactly they're doing and what the rent premium is. So that's all in the OM. But those were kind of the things that we're missing here.
Okay, so this is pitch roof again, individual HVAC. And then you mentioned the unit mix of mostly 2s and 3s, which is pretty rare in that sort of pocket. And anything else in terms of the property that people should know about?
I don't think so. It shows really well. Again, on the exterior, it's going to be almost all brick on the exterior here, so you don't have any kind of physical issues or anything that plagues you here at this property. So again, this is a plug and play deal where you're not going to have to come in and do a lot of heavy lifting.
Okay. So here we are on the pro forma. We had a little bit on rents, and then this utility line, is it the same Save Water Co?
Exactly. Yeah, we got a Save Water Co quote here. One was a little bit less expensive. I think it was only about a $40,000 investment for about $18,000 a year in savings. There's another one that's $70,000 investment for $35,000 a year in annual savings. So you have more than one option there.
Okay. No, that's perfect. So when we looked at this on the 10.2 price, we were right at 8.2 million. Same sort of standard underwriting, T3 annualized, T6 other income, and then 3% management, 350 on G&A advertising professional, payroll at 1,100, utilities T12, water and sewer at T12, R&M at 600, insurance at 350, and in taxes based on 90%. So we're pretty much right at 80% on the deal on a Fannie Mae Green program for this deal. So I mean, both properties, you're able to get good non-recourse debt on both of them coming into the deal. So that's a huge advantage. Al, what's the best way for people to reach out to you to learn more about this deal and possibly set up a tour if they want to take a look at this deal?
Yeah, sure. So you can always call me. My direct line, 817-932-6134. You can email me, and you can also visit our website, which is www.silvamultifamily.com. And you can sign up as a registered client, get immediate access to all of our marketing materials for all of our deals, and you end up on a distribution list. It's just kind of a one-stop shop to keep communication with our team, but we're available here on the phone or email our website.
Do you guys have a call for offers date on this deal yet? Are you taking offers as they come? I know some people have just been putting in offers. One guy told me he's bringing the offer with him on the tour date. So
Oh, good.
that's some people are coming early on deals. What's sort of the what have you relayed to the seller on this one? Are you just gonna take offers as they come, or sort of have a formal call for offers date?
The seller is not under any time constraints for
Okay.
closing. They actually need to close after January 1st.
Okay.
So there's really not much of a need for them to go early on this. So we're going to
Okay.
do a 3 to 4 week marketing process. We'll do a call for offers 3 to 4 weeks after we launch tomorrow, which will be Wednesday
Okay.
2nd. And then we'll do a best and final a week later and pick a buyer. So that's kind of what our process looks like. We'll probably announce the call for offers date a week or so after we launch.
Okay, perfect. So I guess what if you had the quick 30-second summary for people out there on this portfolio, what would it be if you could just leave us with that? That would be great.
Yeah, sure. No, I appreciate it very much. I think this is a great opportunity to pick up a 200 plus unit community that's well located in fast growing market in DFW. Go in there without having to incur a lot of risk by taking out a bridge loan or doing a big capex lift. You can go in there and get a good yield day one, which is rare in today's market, and without having to go crazy on your assumptions, without having to push rents to the absolute limit, you can get to a double-digit cash-on-cash return. And so there's some good, easy upside on the table as well. So I think it's the perfect deal for the environment we're in right now.
Great. Thank you very much, Al, for jumping on the call and giving us a little bit more feedback. Al always does, and his team always does a great job on their OM. So this one definitely is, there's a lot of detail in there. So definitely jump onto his website and get the OM to learn more about this particular deal and set up a tour with Al and his team to get out there as soon as you can. Well, thank you very much, Al, for jumping on the call.
Thank you, James. Really appreciate it.